Hi, I'm Yeen with matrix number S46052. Today, I would like to present about the cultural difference between China and Malaysia university students. For preparing this topic, I have contacted the exchange student from China Guangdong Ocean University who have mobility program experience in UMT before for an interview. And now, let me summarize the content about our interview for the cultural difference between China and Malaysia university students. The difference between us have separated into two, which are the differences of lifestyle and the differences of education system in China University and Malaysia University. I would like to start from the lifestyle differences. So first, the different religion that exists in Malaysia in the same time really impressed China students, as most of them in their country actually do not have official religion. Before we have an interview, I thought that most of the China people or China students are Buddhism, but seems like I was wrong for that. The religion different had carried out different lifestyle. For example, Malaysia students have puasa period for Islamic students, which also bring a culture shock for China students as well. Because in their culture, they believe that hunger breeds discontentment and nothing can compare with the food. Hence, the puasa culture really gives a shock to China students, as it is hard for them to believe how the Islamic student can carry out the fasting for a whole month. Next lifestyle difference is about the vehicle. In the interview, the China students have told that they don't really bring vehicle to the university. Most of the China students use bicycle or walking to their classroom, as the classroom usually would not be too far from their hostel, and usually the one who bring vehicle in China University area will be considered as a rich kid. But it is normal to see the Malaysian student to bring motor or car in the school area. Even the school will give the permission in form of car sticker for those who bring vehicle to the school. While for the differences of education system, university in China will more concern on the final test, as the mark assigned for final test usually will be 70 or 80%, and the rest of the marks depends on the attendance or other assignment. While for Malaysia, we more focus on the daily assessment, such as a lot of assignments in paper or in video, and the marks assigned are more equally on each assignment and not that heavy in final test. Sometimes we don't even have a final test. Next, remember the form that we need to fill for getting the exam slip? It is worth to mention that in Malaysia, we have an evaluation for teaching, which is ESPP, Nilai Penilaian Pengajaran, for giving evaluation mark to each lecturers based on their teaching programs. This evaluation is to ensure that it is fair between the lecturer and the student, as lecturers need to be responsible on their teaching program and give mark without any bias to the student. While for China University, they don't have this kind of evaluation, and the China exchange student tell me that sometimes they need to avoid for annoy the lecturer, as some of the lecturer might have public revenge on students by deducting their mark or deliberately make things difficult for the student. Other than that, the learning time for Malaysia and China students also different, as China have 2.5 hours for their lunch break, and at night they need to go for the class for South night study revision. While for Malaysia students, even we only have 1 hour for lunch break, but at least we have our nighttime for freedom. It's also surprisingly to know that the study material used by China students will mostly be the textbook, while Malaysia students we have a lot of slides. After all these differences I have mentioned before, I was curious about how the China students deal with all these differences, and they tell me that it is always about the tolerance and adaptation. When they choose to having a mobility program, they already have mental preparation for cultural difference. However, this difference really help not only them but also the local students to expand the site and being more open-minded. That's all from me about the difference between China and Malaysia university students. Thank you.